Welcome to the Mike and Much podcast. I'm your host, Mike Veerman. I am here with my friend and trusty producer, back from the road with our Kells, Max Kerman.
We back, baby.
We're also here with our pop culture aficionado, Shane Christian Cunningham.
Yeah, we back.
And this is a thing we're trying. It is brand new. We're all kind of just jumping into this. So normally when you listen to one of our episodes, there's going to be a featured guest, some big celebrity or musician, director, actor, artist of some sort. We do not have a guest today, and we've decided that because we've been so infrequent with our episodes, that we would try something new. Max, why don't you explain what the heck we're doing here?
Yeah, well, first of all, apologies again that we haven't been potting lately. I've been away on tour. Everyone's life's been very busy, but the band just got back on Sunday night. We don't really have any shows on the books for April and May, so I'll be around. And you guys talked about wanting to pod more frequently, and maybe we could touch on some of the news of the day, because this is exactly what the public needs, is three white guys, telling everyone what they think. And so I thought that's a great idea. And you thought of the idea of Mike on Much Brunch, because it'd be like we're getting together for brunch.
It was a Shane's Mike thing. Yeah, it was his name, by the way.
Oh,
too.
okay, good idea.
But yeah, well, I have other names. I've created other. I wasn't sure if we were set on brunch. That was never confirmed.
Well, it kind of rolled off the tongue nicely. But what else you got?
Well, how about you explain to people exactly how does this differ from their regular pod before we start brainstorming?
Sure. Okay. Good idea. Typically, we'd be talking about mostly personal anecdotal stories off the top of a typical episode. But for this new segment, I thought maybe we could touch on some of the news of the day, because I understand you guys get to work every morning and just don't even do any work. You just talk about whatever.
Our boss might be listening to this.
But whatever is the news story of the day. And you guys both have very interesting opinions. And I kind of just want to be a fly on the wall for that. And
I think probably some of the best podcasts haven't been recorded.
Yeah, right? Yeah. So always be rolling, as we say. And I thought maybe if we could set aside 30 to 45 minutes in the morning just to talk about whatever happened yesterday. So today we're going to talk about Nipsey Hussle.
Oh.
Are we?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing that's kind of interesting about this is it's like, as the producer, Max, I don't know if you're going to be coming in with like three topics, like, oh, let's cover Nipsey Hussle, let's cover the controversy with Joe Biden, let's cover something in sports, the playoffs are about to start. But I don't know if you're coming in prepared like that, or if
I think what we should do is I'll send you guys an email or a text the night before you go to bed, so you can have a few things to think about.
Like our three topics we're going to hit.
Yeah, three things that kind of happen on the day that we can talk about the next morning. Is that going to give you enough time to prepare? Or whatever?
I don't want to over-prepare for these.
Okay, cool.
Like, we'll still do the other episodes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I can prepare more for those.
That's good for our listeners. We are not canceling the regular episodes.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll still do those weekly.
You'll still be getting
this
an
might be
opening,
twice a week,
a guest, and a Shane's dessert. That will happen still. But this is just the three of us hanging out, because you know what? People have been like, you guys put out a pod like once every 3 weeks. Which there's been a confluence of events.
At best, yeah.
I know, that have led to that. I know manager Ash had said that like in the fall. She was like, you guys did like 2 episodes. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. But we were doing a TV show. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You've been on tour for all of this sort of like end of winter into spring sort of thing.
And as podcast fans ourselves, we know that the more there is, the more kind of you get roped into a show, right?
Yeah.
Like I love daily podcasts like The Daily or Today Explained, and hopefully we'll be more regular in that way.
Thing is, if people seem to, and by the way, thank you to everybody who obviously leaves a comment or reaches out to us on Twitter or Instagram or iTunes. It seems like they're like, we want to hang out with you guys a little bit more. So maybe this is a way to be more frequent and hang out with
appeals
each
to
other
our
also.
vanity that we just get to put out more stuff. So Shane, what do you got?
We need a name. We need a name for these episodes.
Okay, so right now Brunch is in the lead.
Mike, how much brunch?
Maybe explain
So
the thinking behind that, because we kind of had a mini brainstorm before Max got back.
Well, I guess you know how people are always chatting after they go out on the night drinking. They might go for a brunch and chat about things.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like it.
Yeah, we had a bad one. Like family dinner was kind of like in there.
Yeah, because the other structure is like the opening and the dessert. It's kind of like a meal, like a three-course meal.
And it's like, what do you talk about? And we're like close anyway.
Yeah.
This is what. There's no bad ideas in the brainstorm, guys.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what you need to know.
hold your breath on that, because one of them is freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah,
But
because
like,
we have like freedom to say whatever we want, but there might be some dumb topics we're talking about.
Mike on Much Freedom. But so FREEDUMB.
Mike on Much liberated.
Freedom's kind of good. I kind of like that one.
There we go.
See, no bad ideas.
There's MMS.
What's that?
Mike McShane, baby.
Oh, there you go.
And there used to be like a messaging system. It was MMS.
Oh, okay. I think our younger audience might not get that one. I guess.
Well, there's TTC.
What's that?
Time to chat.
And also the way that some people get here.
Exactly.
On the
Yeah. Okay, those are the good ones. Then we get into the topical.
Pretty good.
Then the Talkettes was another one. Okay, Shane and the Gang.
That's a good one.
That's funny. Yeah.
The View.
I think it might be taken.
But that would be part of like the comedy. It's like
The
we're
gang?
calling ourselves The View, and it's
Yeah.
just three white guys. I thought that'd be funny.
Is there like a dude view? Or did they try that with like Mario Lopez and Danny Bonaducci? This is a
Yeah,
way
yeah,
back
they did.
throwback.
Yeah.
I think critics
They're
would
always
say,
trying to do a dude
you know,
view.
What it was
every
called?
show is a dude view. What makes the View special is that it's the only show that has all females.
Well,
as
here's what I would
hosts.
say though, but that show, which came out literally 15 years ago or something now, has been emulated a million times over with
That's
the
true.
social,
Yeah.
with the talk.
Yeah.
With, like that is now, I think, the operating paradigm for like a midday show. It'd be
Yeah.
weird to have four fellas sitting around talking.
Yeah, but I think people would then say, well, look at every sports show that dominates.
late night talk show, or-
That's just all dudes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and the other ones aren't good enough to read. Yeah,
No?
I realized. No. I like
Okay.
T3 and Tea Time.
My favorite is Freedom, because I like you guys are smart dudes, but I also like presenting ourselves as not necessarily the smartest guys. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think there's
Presenting. I think there's lots of evidence to show that we aren't the smartest guys. Plenty.
but I like dumbing it down a little bit.
I'm looking up this show.
Expectation
from years
is an
ago.
important thing in this business.
Yep.
You know what else do you got?
This show that was so everyone knows The View with
Yeah.
I don't even know who's on it. Whoopi Goldberg is sort of the lead now. So they tried to emulate this back in like the mid 2000s, 2003, 2001 to 2003 it aired, and it was starred Mario Lopez and Danny Bonaducci.
Who's Danny Bonaducci?
He was like the bass player in the Partridge Family, the little redheaded kid.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
the
He
shit
must have
that
been
li-
hot in 2002.
the stuff that lives in my brain. The show was called The Other Half.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Because they're four men. Because it was always the four women's viewpoint. This was like a classic example, I think, of men being like, it's like, how often did women have a show like this? And then they had this successful show called The View, and then men were like, well, what about our point of
Yeah,
view?
yeah, yeah.
But to your point earlier, it's like, well, every show is your point of
It's your
view.
point of view,
So
yeah.
this was their thing called The Other Half. Like, you guys need to know how the other half lives and thinks. And it's like,
Oh,
anyway,
God,
it only
man.
lasted 2 years.
Man.
Do we have a name for a show? Freedom? Really? It feels pretentious.
Freedom feels
But,
pretentious,
but
not
it's,
the way it's spelled.
I don't think you get the spelling, Mike. Like you realize it's FREEDUM.
I got it. Yeah.
D-U-M-B.
We're so dumb we don't even know how to spell it.
We don't know where the B comes from.
That's a dumb.
All right.
Okay.
Listen, guys, this is how we
No,
are a
let's-
democracy.
no,
and
let's
luckily,
poll.
no,
Let's poll
listen,
the crowd.
we're a democracy, and luckily there's three of us. This is always a disaster when it's even numbers. So I'm down for a vote.
No, a real democracy would put it on Twitter, a Twitter poll.
Wow.
And let them decide
Let them
the name.
decide. Let the people decide. We'll do an Instagram poll and we'll do a Twitter poll.
Okay.
Freedom
Okay.
or Mike on Much Brunch.
And then if they choose freedom, then we have to do a sub poll where we put the B or no B.
Yeah.
It's just all polls all the time.
I like it.
Sweet.
Sweet. Done. All right.
Done.
Next item.
I saw the movie The Beach Bum.
Oh yeah, I was hanging out
Harmony
with Greg
Chrome.
last night.
Greg, okay, so this is funny. I knew you were back in town, and
Yeah.
so my brother actually just moved downtown as well. I actually helped him move in on Saturday, and he lives around the corner from myself. And if you're a regular listener, you know that Dan Hamilton also lives with us. It was really fun moving him in. It's awesome that my brother's around the corner. He came by the next Sunday to watch like some college hoops. It was really great. But hilariously, I go to bed very early now when I'm not out with the boys because I got a baby. And I woke up this morning at like 7 with my kid, and I had a text from my brother literally at 10:40. This is how early I went to sleep. And my brother texts me, Kawhi Leonard just walked into King Taps. So I go, okay, I start doing the math. I'm like, Greg was at King Taps at 10:30. Max just got back to town. Max likes King Taps. I'm like, those guys were all hanging out, and Kawhi Leonard walked into the club.
That's what happened.
What?
Give it to me.
I thought you looked tired.
No, I was in bed by midnight. I didn't go to bed.
Okay, I'm not Lauren. You can tell the truth.
Okay, the boys were pretty late.
You partied with Kawhi?
No. I mean, I was literally in bed by midnight because I need to be up and sharp for today.
I am
I saw
impressed.
Kawhi last night too.
Shane was
Come
at the
on.
game.
Oh, you were at the game.
Yeah, he was bouncing the ball. Yeah.
So yeah, we were there and just catching up because I hadn't seen your brother Dan in a while. And who walks in? Actually, the first guy walks in. It's sort of like a tall, kind of black dude with a suit on. But in my mind, he kind of immediately he looked familiar. Like I've seen him on the bench at Raptors games.
Jamal McGlure?
No, it wasn't Jamal McGlure. It was somebody else. But he looked familiar.
Sure.
And then who follows him right behind him? A tall dude in a hoodie. And I was like, oh, it's Kawhi. It's crazy. And then he originally sat in kind of a corner booth. But then I don't think that was private enough for him. So basically, there's a back-ish room that wasn't open to the public.
Because he just had a kid, right? So he can't be seen drinking the night
well,
after.
I was wondering
I
about
think that's
that.
supposed to be secret. Are we allowed to talk about it? Deep on the
Everyone was
recesses of
talking
Reddit.
about it beside me.
Oh yeah, it was on the Reddit page.
I know, but the team hasn't announced it or anything.
Oh
like that.
sure. Yeah.
But listen,
But
I
we
don't-
can't talk
I
about
don't-
info we know.
I don't
This
think-
is free dumb, man.
I don't think. I'm so terrified that this podcast will be the reason Kawhi leaves. He's like, I get no privacy in Toronto. They're talking about my kid on Freedom. I haven't even announced it yet.
Yeah, I did wonder that. But,
Toronto Raptors superstar Kawhi Leonard just had a kid and he was out at King Taps.
yeah.
He's like our friend Felix.
But to be fair, was the kid born in Toronto? That's
Our buddy Felix had a kid literally at a hospital up the street. This is 2 or 3 years ago. And we were celebrating the kid having shots at this bar called Gallagher's. And who comes walking up but Felix? We're like, isn't your baby fucking 3 hours old up there? And he's like, oh, yes. But we got to celebrate. And he lines up shots and did one.
He is German, though.
Yes, that was a
Yeah,
shitty German accent.
Yeah, it's a cultural thing. You can't project our own views on other cultures.
This is what he always says. He goes, I'm European. And I'm like, fuck, I want to start using that.
Yeah. Actually, I just saw Felix in Portland. He flew out for the show.
Oh, wow.
What? And it was his kid's birthday. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Yeah, he had a gig there, so he was working.
Did you guys party in Portland?
We hung out. We didn't really go out too late, but yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, Kawhi.
So Kawhi walks in, and we all get very excited. Your brother immediately kind of goes to the bathroom, which is passing by this private area, and tries to snap a photo.
Oh, jeez.
And
Was he successful?
I don't think so. It was pretty dark back there. But I did ask our server. I was like, do you know that's Kawhi Leonard? And she's like, yeah, he's a Raptor. Didn't care. I was like, no, he's not just a Raptor. He's the best Raptor. He's one of the top 5 guys in the league. This is a big deal. What does he typically drink? And she said they typically get Hennessy is their go-to drink. And also she pointed out, I took a picture of the menu. She's like, the thing they like to get is a passionate mule. It serves 4. It's 10 ounce.
Man, rich people really can get anything. Not just a mule, but they can figure
A
out
passionate mule. 10 ounce 4 Roses bourbon, Fever Tree ginger beer, lime, topped with Drake drank passion fruit slush. So I don't know if that's Drake, the rapper Drake.
Yeah.
Drake drank. Anyway, so that's and apparently the Raptors go to that place all the time.
But you
The
sent
Raptors
him a
and
drink
Leafs.
over?
No, of course not.
Oh.
What's more invasive, announcing he had a child or telling his whole drink order?
Well, I mean, she said the Raptors generally.
Oh,
that's
this
they
is
get.
what the Raptors
Yeah.
drink. So it could be Pascal Siakam.
Yeah,
it could
yeah.
be
She said, but they're in there all the time. Apparently.
Really? Well, Pascal just turned 25 last night, so I was wondering if it was his birthday party.
Yeah, I think there was one other Raptor guy back there. I couldn't make him out though.
Was Kawhi in the New Balance?
He was wearing a New Balance hoodie, maybe. I don't know. It was gray.
Well, the whole thing about this kid business is Kawhi's been away from the team and they just said personal issue, personal matter or whatever. And then the subreddits, I guess a bunch of people saw him and his girlfriend at Mount Sinai. So apparently he had a child in Canada.
A Canadian child.
So everyone's like, he's staying. I'm like, no, it just cleverly got dual citizenship now.
Yeah.
Were you worried when it said personal matter? Because usually it's something more serious.
Well, I
than-
immediately went on the Reddit, so yes, I was worried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he was taking a day off for Nipsey Hussle.
But if it's true, oh, by the way, I'll get to that in a second. But if it is true that Kawhi had a child, and by the way, the team hasn't confirmed, but it seems like everybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
Congrats to Kawhi Leonard.
Congrats to Kawhi
and your new
Leonard.
Canadian son.
Yeah.
Exciting times. Speaking of Nipsey Hussle, who's obviously from California, and so is Kawhi. I think a lot of NBA players have been shook, and a lot of people have been shook by his death, just going by Twitter and obviously the tributes and whatnot. But Kawhi last night at the game, he has the New Balance shoes. Yeah. He wore tribute shoes. So he had a lyric written on the sole, and then the big N for New Balance. He had R.I.P. before the N, and then the N was in Nip for Nipsey Hussle.
How did you see the lyric on the sole?
Because they had close-up shots of the shoe. So it's the side of the sole.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Had you ever heard of Nipsey Hussle before this?
I'd heard
No.
the name.
Yeah, I hadn't heard it either.
Right.
But yeah,
Did you check out his music?
I haven't done it yet, but I was planning to today actually. But yeah, everybody was paying respects to that guy.
Well, it seems like the thing that set him apart was that he's sort of one, I guess for the whole first part of his career, he didn't sign with a major label. He did everything independently. I'd read this fascinating sort of piece that he actually printed 100 CD, or he printed CDs because basically he wanted to prove that the independent model could work and that people were still willing to buy independent music if it was good. So he ended up printing his own album or recording his own album and selling it for $100 an album, and he moved 100 of them. Or something like that. No, 1,000 of them, I think is what it was. 100 of them to Jay-Z alone because people were like respected the idea that he did that. Then the next one.
Hold on, Jay-Z bought 100 copies?
Of this $100 album
cool.
because he was like, I respect that you're sort of trying to prove something or whatever. So I guess on the next one, he sold them for like $1,000 a record. And then he actually managed to like move like 10 of them or something like that. He eventually recorded his major label debut, I guess like recently, nominated for a Grammy for like best new artist or best debut album. I don't know what the hell the thing was, but it was like this was like kind of his like launch. But he'd spent the last decade basically. And again, I'm no expert. I just sort of read a few pieces about him after he passed away. But I think the reason that his death is so difficult for people is because he opened a clothing store like in sort of like the part of L.A. that he grew up in, that was like full of sort of like hardship and gangbangers, and it was like a very sort of like rough part. He's like, no, I'm going to give back to my community. I'm going to open a clothing shop here. I'm not going to like leave the community. And basically was trying to do so much for his community constantly. That was sort of his like his mission in life outside of the music. So I think a lot of the NBA guys were like really respected how much he was doing for the community.
I never knew you were such a Nipsey fan, Mike.
I just when things like this happen, you know me, I'll read like a million things on.
Did you
stuff
know
like
who
this.
Nipsey was beforehand?
I knew the name for sure. Yeah.
Had you ever heard a Nipsey track?
Nope. Nope. Again, I don't have $100 or $1,000 to buy a CD.
Right.
So. Get that shit on iTunes. Yeah. I'll listen to Hard Rock Night.
Can you
Hard
stream
Rock
it, please? Yeah, that's always kind of amazes me when there's somebody who is clearly really big-hearted and thoughtful and like contributing so much to the community, also has this like other side of him that would attract somebody.
Well, he was a gangbanger himself.
Who'd have someone out for his head? You know, like, that's just like a crazy dichotomy. Usually, it's like you're kind of so wrapped up in one world or the other.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was kind of doing both, and this maybe I'm an idiot, and naive when it comes to, you know, the way life might work for somebody in that situation, but. Yeah, the fact he was doing all this great stuff for the community and somebody still wanted to kill him because he clearly had these foes out there is kind of strange to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad. And that's,
yeah,
I think that's
sad.
the thing that people are struggling with is how pointless it is. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's like the tall poppy thing. It's like somebody gets too big or crabs in a bucket. It's like you want to cut down the tall poppy because they're getting too big. Or it's like, yeah, I remember that guy from this beef we had 8 years ago and I'm going to take him out. And it's like he would have done so much more to lift the community. And, you know, whoever did shoot him, it's like everybody sort of benefits from somebody doing work like that, you know.
Tall poppy.
Yeah, have you ever heard that?
No.
Tall poppy syndrome?
No.
It's basically when one of the poppies like grows too high
okay.
in like a patch of poppies.
Right.
It's got to come down.
I was going to make a Kawhi Leonard joke because he's a new dad.
Oh.
And he's very tall playing
New
basketball.
dad, new
yeah.
balance.
Speaking of Reddit and speaking of the hood, did you hear that?
You said that very.
Is that
The
weird?
hood.
Cool, Max.
Yeah. Listen, guys. Speaking of the hood, with all
Speaking
this
of the hood,
tragedy.
Did you guys read that Lou Williams story on Reddit? Mike, did you see this one? Lou Williams is a guard who now plays for the
six-man.
LA Clippers.
Drake wrote
he
a song
played for the
about him.
Raptors for a bit.
That's right.
There's a story
Famous
about,
for having 2 women
yeah, that's right. He was there's a
who
story
got
about,
along with each other. It was a very functional, like polygamous relationship. But go on.
so
So he'd go to like Jay's games when he was here, and he'd be with his two
his two
ladies,
girlfriends.
and he'd be Instagramming, and people were like, "Wow."
Yeah, he kind of has like a big personality, I think. And he stop it.
Maybe.
But
Yeah.
anyway, there's
Oh, you
a
gotta
famous
please
story
two
about
women.
him in Philadelphia when he played for the 76ers and him getting held up at gunpoint.
Yeah.
He got a haircut at his favorite barbershop.
Have you heard this story? Shane?
No.
In a tough area of town. Guy comes to hold him up in his car, like carjack him, and he realizes Lou Williams. And then he's like, "Oh, Lou, you've done so much for the community." Because Lou used to like buy winter jackets at Burlington Coat Factory and just like hand them out like in the neighborhood. And the guy's like, "I just got out of jail. I'm like just really hungry." And Lou's like, "Get in. We'll go to McDonald's." And then
Yeah.
they just like broke bread, literally, figuratively, at
Wow.
McDonald's. So I was like, "What a cool story."
And he didn't hurt him afterwards.
No, the
Nice.
guy was like, "I'm sorry for doing that to you," and then Lou's like, "It's all good. Let's get some food."
After 3 Big Macs, you just want to have a nap. You don't really want to kill anybody at that point. Tall poppy syndrome. The tall poppy syndrome describes aspects of a culture where people of high status are resented, attacked, cut down, strung up, or criticized because they have been classified as superior to their peers.
Interesting.
There you go.
Hey, another question, another idea for this early morning segment. What do we think about talking about other podcasts and other moments in other podcasts? Is that interesting to people, or is that boring if you've never heard the podcast?
We can do anything. Let's try it.
Yeah.
Erica will
Max,
cut it out.
This is
It's no
freedom.
good.
We can literally do whatever we want. Maybe we should set the scene because as you guys listen to more episodes of Freedom or Brunch, whatever you vote on, we're doing this very early in the morning in the offices where Max's management is, and on the ones and twos. I don't even know if you wouldn't call it that. On the audio mixer
Sounds cool to
is
me.
Erica, who you guys have heard about if you listened to the podcast before. She wasn't in the intern contest, but she filmed it for us, and she produced one of the segments.
Say something, Erica.
in the TV show.
Hello.
There, that's her voice. You might recognize it.
Yeah, you might. Maybe as we develop these things and go on, maybe we end up getting her a mic and she can pipe in every once
I'm
in a
into
while.
that actually because I'm listening to the Conan podcast and his assistant Sona Sisipni or whatever her name
She's
is.
a woman.
Yeah. She pipes in all the time too. So
Yeah.
I like that. Are we allowed to tell the other big news, Erica, about what you're up to?
Sure. About the other Veerman?
Yeah, the other Veerman.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you tell him.
Okay. I got a gig with Mike's brother Greg at MLSE.
So when people are complaining, you have to pay the interns. You have to pay the interns, and we go, no. It'll come in time.
Yeah.
This is exactly how it works, my friends. You know,
You get jobs through interning.
Pay
you
your
do a little
dues. You gotta pay your
sweat
dues.
equity,
Yeah.
and then you get a real job.
So are
You're
you getting
welcome.
paid at this new gig?
I am.
Wow.
I heard I'm getting paid here too.
Yeah,
No.
we'll talk about
What?
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys paying her behind my back? You know how I feel about
Shane's like,
that.
that's a little bit too much freedom.
Yeah, come on.
No, this is awesome. So she's working with my brother. My brother does, I think we're allowed to talk about it even though it's a different company, but he,
Yeah.
Actually, no, we own part of that company.
Yeah, he's your brother.
he produces the show All for One. Or All In.
Oh,
You
nice.
know, you're already on it.
Presented by Bell. Sure is. And TSN, what up?
There you go. So, and it's about the soccer team, the local Toronto football club.
Yep.
Yeah.
So shouts to Erica for making it work.
It's all connected, you know. We
Did you put us on your resume, by the way?
Oh, I did. And I didn't stretch anything, but
Listen, our friend group has a history of really embellishing resumes based on just.
well, I heard that the Nut wrote all of the Arkell songs.
that's right.
That's how he got his gig, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the Nut, I hung out with him on Saturday when we did the move into the house as well.
I saw some
Which was
video footage of that.
Hilarious,
which is
hilarious
very-
night.
very
Nut-
strong.
Nut was having a good time.
Where did you see video footage? I didn't see
I
it.
don't want to bring this up.
What?
I'm in-
Oh, this is a group chat thing?
Yeah, it's a group chat.
Who's in the group chat?
I can't. I don't know.
You don't know.
No.
What I'm saying though
a
is
lot of people.
it was nice to hang out with the Nut because I haven't partied with the Nut in quite some time, and
Yeah.
it was nice to see him in full Nut form.
So what is this group chat for, though?
I think this particular group chat is the wrong side. It's called Wrong Side. This is too long of a story.
Just tell me.
So
Give me the
basically,
Coles
it's
note.
Dan, Greg Veerman, just mentioned, Brent, me, and then
Wait, Julian's dad's in this group?
no,
Different Brent.
Oh.
Spy.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And then remember the famous ice cream sandwich?
Yeah.
Her and all of her friends are in this friend group.
Wow.
And it's called Wrong
Jeez.
Side because we're from the wrong side of the tracks and they're from the right side of the tracks, but we call it Wrong Side. And so that was the group text that I got.
Oh, interesting.
They're all partying together.
Well, what was going on in the video then?
Basically, the Nut was shirtless, and they were drawing all over his body. He was giving somebody a piggyback. I don't know.
How is his body looking these days?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was the art looking?
The art was looking great, too. You were there. You were in
I
the
wasn't
background.
drawing on him. Yeah, I was just in the
Yeah,
background.
you're in the background. Okay, so other items up for business here. In terms of talking about other podcasts, like for instance, the Conan podcast is so good, and I love. Have you guys been listening to it?
I haven't yet. Everyone's
I've
been
listened
telling
to
me.
a few episodes.
Oh, it's so
but
good. The way he does ad reads is the best.
Yeah. He makes some comedic segments.
Hilarious. The latest Bill Simmons episode 500 is very good. He interviews his mom. Have you guys listened to that one yet?
No, but I know
it's
Bill
so good.
Hader's on it.
Yeah, Hader gives a shout out to Hamilton too.
I heard. Speaking of Bill Hader, remember if you guys are regular listeners of our podcast, you know that Bill Hader was shooting it in Toronto during the summer, and he was living in my building.
That's right.
This is related because the other day I was at home and I was on my Instagram, and I follow the actress January Jones on my Instagram, and I saw that she had a bunch of Lay's chips. So she's like, "Oh, Canada, all the Canadian. I guess in America they don't have like ketchup chips or all dressed chips. Those are, I guess, purely Canadian." So she was sort of excited about having all these Canadian flavors of chips. I'm like, "Okay, she's in Canada." Then it was like her and like a movie trailer kind of getting her hair done. I'm like, oh, okay, she's shooting something in Toronto or whatever. Then I'm like, oh, I wonder if she's like being put up in my building or somewhere around my place. Then she posts a photo of her sitting in a bar with like a big pint of Coors Light and a hockey game on in the background. It was like 11:30 at night, and she's like, "Oh, like just wrapped a day, being very Canadian right now." I mentioned this to Shane and Max. I'm like, "Yo, January Jones is in town. I think she's in our hood. We should get her on like the podcast." Our buddy Simon, who's like an eagle eye, Simon Jane, he looks at the photo and he was able to identify the bar. It was the Boston Pizza over by the Sky
A block
Dome.
away from you.
Yeah. So it was like, oh my God, January Jones is in the hood.
So then I woke up to a bunch of frantic text messages from you guys going, message her right now from the Arkells account.
And you did.
And I did, and I had never heard back.
We wanted her for a digital dessert for potentially season 2 of our Crave show, which, by the way, subscribe on Crave for a show Mike got much in conversation with. And then also like a sit-down audio podcast of our conventional show.
Yeah. So I never heard back, but we tried.
We did try.
Yeah. That'd be cool, though. Yeah, but Hader actually filmed it in Hamilton, too. Because when he heard, if you listen to the Simmons podcast, when he heard about his Emmy nominations for Barry, he was in Hamilton, Ontario. He was like, I woke up one day in Hamilton, Ontario. Shout out to the Hammer.
Yeah.
And my agent told me that we got nominated like 13 times or whatever it was. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So yay or nay on talking about other podcasts? Maybe? If this is
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, man.
Okay, cool. Nice.
And when I said I saw the Beach Bum, what did you say? You said you saw it also with Greg?
Oh, Greg was telling me that he was texting you about it when I was hanging out with Greg.
Yeah.
last night.
What did he think of it?
He didn't like it that much. He thought it was kind of shit.
Yeah, it's. I saw it and I was kind of drunk.
Yeah, he said you were kind of drunk when you watched it. Why were you drunk?
Well, you don't get out a lot when you have a baby.
Uh-huh.
Just for the listeners without children to know, once you have a kid, it's harder to go out. So
You drink at home with the kid and then go to a movie and leave the kid there alone.
No. You got to get a babysitter.
Oh, right.
Again, and it is so bad. This movie, you can't believe that they would even make a movie, which actually makes it funny. It's like when a friend's telling a really bad joke. It's like kind of like how we were naming the show. It's like Free Dumb. It's such a bad title that it's almost good.
Yeah.
And that's what Beach Bum is like, except it's not good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I do not recommend it.
Okay.
Except for the point of fascination when you're seeing something that's so bad, you can't even believe it was made.
Yeah, that's always amazing because that cast is stacked. That director is very respected.
It's all based on reputation. It's like he wrote one good movie when he was 19 called Kids. And then he's just been riding that for the rest of his life. Because Spring Breakers was much better than this, but it was still like a very loose, weird movie, just riding his reputation.
Huh. Yeah, you'd think there'd be some adults in the room, like whether it's like the production company or editors that would help it, I guess.
When you have juice, you get to call the shots. You know what I mean? It's there's less voices saying, "Hey, maybe think about doing this instead of that," and then one sort of creative or super out there decision on top of another, and then you end up with some weird. I haven't seen the film, but
There were 7 walkouts.
really,
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was very fun to see everyone walk out too.
What did you watch any movies on the road?
We saw Us.
Me too.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as Get Out, but I thought it was really, really good at what it did. You know.
We saw it on opening night. We were in Santa Fe, New Mexico, on an off night. Kind of a cool.
The whole band goes?
Mike, Tony, and I went.
Pack Theater.
Packed theater.
I saw it on Saturday after opening night. Slammed.
Yeah, I kind of like that experience of going to like a movie where everyone's really excited to be there. We did have one idiot talking behind us. And this is the kind of movie where people are like, "Whoa, watch out! Oh my God!"
You should have turned around and been like, "Get out." Thank you.
Get Out is a great film.
But actually, that kind of leads to an interesting question. How do you address somebody who's being so egregiously inappropriate?
Well,
in that situation,
there's two things. Like I think there's two types of people that talk in films. So like when I saw the latest Star Wars movie or whatever, like the one with Adam Driver and what was The Last Jedi. I had a guy sitting beside me that was like so excited about the movie. So like when like they're in the red room and it's like when the lightsaber opens, the guy's like, "Oh my God, this is cool. Yes." Or like something would happen and be like, "Oh yes, I knew that would happen." And I was like, it was kind of annoying, but he was enjoying it so much that it was like, I wasn't going to be like, "Excuse me, sir, like you're ruining the experience." If anything, I'm like, he's joyful. There's people in like stormtrooper outfits. Like I'm the guy that's here to see a movie. These people are here for an experience. So I don't mind it when they talk in that sense.
And that vibe is different than like a thriller.
If you have people behind you and they're like oh my God, and then like this happened, and they're actually talking, I will 100% turn around and be like, hey, come on, like, can you guys please be quiet? Like, just please. And then they'll either be like, okay, and they'll shut up because you shame them. There's some people that like turn around and be like, shut the fuck up. I won't go there.
Yeah.
I'll basically ask them to be quiet, and then if they're not, I'll actually leave and change seats.
What's like the most polite way to do it, though? I guess it's just a matter of saying please. Like, hey, can you please?
Yeah, the way Mike said is the nicest. I used to turn around and just say, can you guys please stop the running commentary? And they would just get very embarrassed. And
running commentary is not bad.
Yeah. And if someone's looking at their phone, like I have, like I really get distracted in my peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So and it's usually when I'm sitting too far away, but someone will always be like shining their phone light in front of me. So I usually get snacks at the movies. So I will start throwing snacks at that person. And I did it on, I think it was our third date with, my third date with my wife, Alex. I started throwing M&Ms.
That's
at
really.
the person. She loved it.
She loved it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we were seeing end of the tour.
So to me, that feels very inappropriate. Throwing.
Looking at their phone, I know. Why do you think I'm throwing the M&Ms?
What would you do if somebody that wanted to get physical with you because you were throwing stuff at them?
They're that turned on? You're a bad boy. I'm on a date here. No, I'd probably pull a Lou Williams.
to take him to McDonald's?
No, he was in a relationship with two women. I'm making a joke. Max, come on. You're putting the dumb in freedom.
I'm almost embarrassed at the name choices. Like, we work in a creative industry. We brainstorm for a living. We write things that we sell to companies, and our two best choices are Brunch and Freedom without a B.
But
I'm in favor of the B for the record.
But here, any idea that was really good, I kind of threw it out. Because originally, I wasn't sure what we were going to do, so I was kind of trying to come up with like stupider things to get a laugh out of you guys. So anything that was actually
I
good.
thought that was a name instead of like Stranger Things.
What'd I say?
Stupider things.
Oh, that's funny too. See? Jeez, that's
Shane's
good.
like, I'm a genius.
Yeah, like I wrote like Da Boys, radio with like a yo. Like I was just trying to come up with ones that are so bad that they could
Radio?
potentially be good.
Radio.
Like
Yeah.
rad. I don't know. I think we could do better, but you know what? If Max really likes Freedom, and he is the producer, so I
And we have
defer.
the backstory here recorded, so anyone who listens to this, they might get down with it.
It's true. I'm just picturing it on like the iTunes app
Sure.
where it says Mike on Much, Freedom,
Yeah.
without the B, like
But think of Bare Naked
FREDUM.
Ladies, right? Or Red Hot Chili
All the
Peppers.
time, yeah.
After a
I wake up thinking about the Bare Naked Ladies.
Tonally, what are you looking for then in the title? Like something that's a little more serious and newsy, or like news of the day, or like something that's actually like descriptive of like what we're trying to get at with these like morning recaps.
You know, after sitting here for 30 minutes with you guys, I think Freedom is appropriate. Yeah. I'm down. I'm in.
Okay. Well, no, I mean,
well, and it gives us, like, no pun intended, the freedom to talk about anything we want.
yeah, it's true.
Because news of the day, we're not always going to be talking about news of the day.
Yeah. Free flow, freedom. Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Oh, I was Even Flow? Was that the Pearl Jam song?
Yeah.
Not a Pearl Jam fan.
Me neither.
I don't know. I know people love Pearl Jam. It's hard. Back then, like, you know, people like Nirvana or Pearl Jam. You're one of those two guys. I don't think you're probably a Nirvana fan either, are you?
No, not at all.
Do you hate like that era of music?
You hate it?
Yeah,
You
I can
hate
tell.
Smells Like Teen Spirit?
It's fine. I mean, grunge does nothing for me. Soundgarden never did anything for me. Pearl Jam, there's like 3 songs which I think are great. I think with Pearl Jam, it's more about the cult of Eddie. Like, you know, the people just like love Eddie Vedder more than they like
What
the
is
songs.
it about him? Because he's
Well, he's
attractive?
very hot.
Yeah.
He's very cool. Like, there's no denying that.
Who's
Eddie
hotter,
Vedder-
Eddie Vedder or Chris Cornell? Or Kurt Cobain? Let's do a 3-way.
Oh, good.
Because people love Kurt Cobain.
Let's throw one more in there. Or Bradley Cooper.
Why?
Because he played him in that movie.
Played who?
Who?
Eddie Vedder.
No, he didn't.
Is that who
Was
he
it
based
based
it on?
on?
Well, Eddie
I thought
Vedder
he did.
Eddie was a consultant on it,
Oh,
on all the
interesting.
live stuff. I
You're
think.
telling me he wasn't trying to look like Eddie
I
Vedder
think,
with his hair
I
and
think I
shit?
did read that actually.
Eddie wishes he could grow a beard like Bradley Cooper had in that movie.
All right, well, let's throw him in the hot off.
well,
No,
I think
we're doing it from a certain generation. Okay.
Fine.
It kind of depends if you're into like blonde, fair guys or kind of darker,
mysterious
guys.
Yeah, it's true. Like Kurt's like what, like blonde,
Kurt's
blue
a pretty
eyes.
boy, kind of.
Yeah.
I'd say Chris is at the bottom.
I think Eddie's at the bottom.
Yeah.
Is
personal
Kurt
preference.
at the top?
I think so.
Erica, is Kurt at the top?
Oh yeah, why would we've got to?
Yeah. Do you know him?
Kurt
You're a little
Cobain,
younger.
Yeah.
Eddie Vedder, or Chris Cornell? Name the.
I only know what Kurt Cobain looks like.
Oh, there.
We're gonna call it photos here. So you know Kurt, right? This will be another poll, another freedom poll.
Okay,
Eddie
my
Vedder.
rankings though.
Yeah, let's hear your
I'm gonna
rankings.
go Kurt, Eddie, Chris.
Okay, so are we going now or the 90s?
That's actually a good.
Okay, we'll go
question, too.
90s. So
Actually, you
90s.
have to do 90s because Kurt didn't make it past 94.
That's true. There's Eddie Vedder. Okay, and then let's find Chris Cornell 90s. Although I think Chris Cornell actually got better looking as he was older.
Yeah, he has many different looks. I feel like Kurt just picked a look that worked and stayed with it.
Also doesn't do it for me. What's up with that beard? The
Yeah,
flavor
that
flavor.
facial hair's not in anymore.
No.
It was a different time and place. Okay, Kurt wins. All right.
Is there any other news items that we'd like to talk about? What happened today?
I have personal life news, I guess. Just that not and like no one's pregnant or anything.
Okay.
I just,
That's
I,
where
you
exactly
gave me
where
that
my
look
mind
like she is. I knew it. But I started waking up at 5 a.m.
Why?
every morning. Because I used to always joke that I'm waking up at 5 to go jogging and stuff. Like, oh, I missed my 5 a.m. jog this morning.
Yeah.
But I started doing it.
Oh, how
You
long?
actually got up and started jogging at 5?
Yeah, for
What-
the last week and a half. So every day.
You're looking good, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was Mike and I did a shoot with Dawn.
You and I did.
Wait. Dawn sounds like a person. Dawn, the dish soap product.
That was the product that we were doing in our day jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was a Dawn dish soap commercial with Mary Berg. So after the shoot, you got to get a picture with the celeb.
With who?
Mary Berg's a celebrity chef.
She won
Okay.
Master
Good
Chef
question.
Canada.
Cool.
So she's got a new show on CTV called Mary's Kitchen Crush.
Yeah, she kind of has like a redheaded Taylor Swift vibe.
She's awesome. She's like going to be a huge like
very kind.
culinary star
Cool.
in that world.
How old is she?
Our age, probably. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
No, maybe like I don't know, like 30, 29. I have no
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah, she's probably 29.
Something like that.
Cool.
But she's like
She's
the
like a
best.
young celebrity.
Yeah.
She's
for
the
that
best.
world.
Yeah.
Cool.
So after the shoot, I'm like, oh, geez, I got to, get this celeb picture and put it on my Instagram to show that I'm like, doing some cool job at work. And then like every celebrity picture, you're always trapped because you only get one shot at it. And then I was just looking. I was like, oh, my God, I got to change my life. Because since the Crave shoot, since we started shooting the Crave show in November, and remember I was bragging in the Crave show, all the push-ups I was doing.
You were super in shape.
Yeah, but then from November till now, all that cold weather and all the work we were doing, like we were editing every day, like day and night on that Crave show, it really threw my workout schedule off. And just now do I actually have time to really start doing something. But I took extreme measures because I'll
'Cause
show you
you're an extreme
I'll
guy.
show you the picture of me and Mary, and you'll see
Yeah,
why.
that's it.
So this new regime though, we only shot that commercial like 5 days ago.
Well, I've been doing it since the day after the commercial. I started doing it, or maybe the day of the commercial was actually the day I.
What time are
started.
you going to bed?
I go to
get up
bed
at-
same time,
What time's that?
like midnight to.
So you only
How
get
are
5
you living
hours
on
of sleep.
5 hours sleep?
No. What I do is I sleep now the entire bus ride here, and sometimes it's 2 hours. So I'll gain that entire 2 hours back. It's just it's segmented. It's weird. And then if I don't get enough sleep on the bus, I'll sleep on the way home. Which before I was just listening to podcasts, which isn't a waste of time, but I feel like I'm using my time better now.
You look no different.
Mike.
Okay. you're the problem is I think you look good, but you're
Shut up.
No, you're doing something with your face.
With
So
your
it's making
face.
you look like you have a double chin.
You're doing the
If
thing
your
where you're
face wasn't
intentionally
down,
trying
you'd
to
be
do a double
fine.
An in-shape man can't contort his face. Like, don't show Erica that.
You're scared for Erica to see
Oh,
it.
stop it.
Yeah. That's a weird posture thing, I think.
I know, but a person with a normal face doesn't have that much
Okay.
loose skin on their neck.
Well, here's a better question. Could you
See, look at her.
No, but okay, but
Yeah, don't zoom in. She zoomed in. That's who I'm talking to.
but Shane, I saw you today, and I thought to myself, oh, Shane's looking good.
Yeah, well, I'm waking up at 5.
But here's the better question is, could you really have that much of a transformation in 5 days of
Yeah.
jogging? No, you couldn't. 5 days. Like, your body
I'll show you.
He's doing literal chin-ups where his chin goes on the bar and he lifts himself up with the chin.
No, but if you can, honestly, if you're eating like shit and then all of a sudden you snap in, change your diet, start working out like crazy.
In 5 days, it's going to make that much of a difference.
If you're yo-yo dieter your whole life, your metabolism's fucked and like your stomach.
So you're a yo-yo dieter.
Oh yeah, I'm always on something.
Well,
Yeah, I thought I'd announce it here because it's freedom.
It's good. That's gonna be the name.
That'll be the.
Do we even put the poll up anymore?
We have to.
Okay. Fine,
Just
fine,
because I want to see if it resonates.
What do we call this episode on iTunes then? Just brunch/freedom? ?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, that's a good tagline for the end of the episode, where it's like we can and that's it. That's all because freedom.
Freedom.
Or any closing sentence can be finished with because it's freedom.
Live free or die dumb.
That's good too. Maybe
you.
that's even better. Oh, man. This is great.
Should we wrap it there?
We can't top this.
Yeah.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Well, for those of you that hung with us, we're going to have, I think we're going to be doing these a lot more frequently, as well as the regular episode that will come out with long-form interviews. We got interviews coming up with Natalie Prass and
Who else? Oh, dude. From Cage Elephant.
Cage the Elephant,
Yeah,
man. That was a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can put up my picture of me and Mary.
Mary
on the
Berg.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And we can do a poll. Does Shane have too much neck fat? Is this normal? Rubber face.
Can we do a before and after, from today?
Well, give me 5 more days. Yeah.
I'm
gonna be ripped.
Erica, can we take a cool picture of us potting? We're back at it. We should do that. Maybe Shane, come around here.
Good caption.
Mike on Much can be found on Twitter and Instagram at Mike on Much. You can subscribe to the show on any platform that has podcasts. Spotify, do it.